In the depths of history, long before the Egyptian pyramids and the city-states of Mesopotamia, a sophisticated civilization thrived. Hidden beneath the sands, the Harappan civilization stands out with its advanced cities and a writing system yet to be fully deciphered. How did they build their cities without modern tools? What secrets do their symbols and artifacts hold? In this documentary, we delve into the captivating story of this mysterious civilization that existed before the Sumerians and Egyptians. The discovery of the Harappan civilization began in the 1850s when British officers mentioned mysterious mounds near the village of Harappa, then located in northwest British India. However, it was Alexander Cunningham, the newly appointed Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, who took a genuine interest in these mounds. Cunningham initially believed these mounds to be the remnants of an early medieval fort. Among his findings was a strange seal with unknown characters, but he and others didn't pay much attention to these findings at the time. Cunningham and his team left the area after the initial examination without recommending further research, and the mounds were forgotten for decades. That is, until the 1870s, when railway contractors plundered the area in search of old but sturdy bricks. In 1902, interest in Harappa was rekindled with the appointment of John Marshall, a young British archaeologist, as the Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India. Marshall was aware of Cunningham's findings and the mysterious seal. In 1920, he decided to conduct an excavation at Harappa. The excavations, which began in 1921, unearthed not only more seals with similar mysterious characters, but also brick houses, streets, sewers, and figurines. At the same time, excavations were underway at another site called Mohenjo-Daro, southwest of Harappa, near the Indus River. The team, led by Indian archaeologist Rakhal Das Banerjee, initially thought it was an ancient Buddhist temple from the 3rd or 4th century. However, Banerjee soon discovered seals similar to those found at Harappa. Banerjee, who knew ancient Indian languages, realized that these seals had a previously unseen script, indicating a civilization much older than that period. By 1924, after examining both Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, Sir John Marshall concluded that they belonged to a previously unknown Bronze Age civilization, which he named the Indus Valley Civilization. Over the years, archaeologists unearthed the remains of numerous cities and towns in northwest British India. These discoveries included streets, seals, and pottery similar to those found in the Indus Valley. Interestingly, some large settlements were located quite far from the Indus Valley. Therefore, the term Harappan civilization was derived from the place of its first discovery and is widely accepted today. Although some in India refer to this civilization as the Indus-Sarasvati civilization, the most commonly used term is still the Harappan civilization. As we get to know this ancient community more closely, we lift the veil of mystery. In a study published in Dawn magazine, researchers from the Archaeological Society of India and IIT Kharagpur conducted radiocarbon tests on ceramic fragments and animal bones found in the village of Barana, 225 kilometers northwest of New Delhi. The findings confirm that this settlement dates back at least 8,000 years, making it more than 1,000 years older than the ancient Egyptian and Sumerian civilizations. This discovery fundamentally changes our understanding of the first urban settlements in the region. Professor Anindya Sarkar from the Department of Geology and Geophysics at IIT Kharagpur says, "Our study reveals the settlement's history dating back to the 8th millennium BC, significantly impacting our understanding of human evolution in the Indian subcontinent." Other research indicates that the mysterious Harappan civilization had a population of over 5 million at its peak, an extraordinary figure for that time. In comparison, the Sumerian civilization, estimated to have had a population of about 1.5 million, pales in comparison to the Harappan civilization. The inhabitants of this ancient city excelled not only in urban planning, but also in agriculture, metallurgy, and written communication. Their cities were designed on a regular grid plan, with houses featuring separate areas for different activities like cooking, living, sleeping, and bathing, much like modern homes. One of the most impressive achievements of the Harappan civilization was its advanced water management systems. Contrary to the primitive methods often attributed to ancient societies, such as carrying water in buckets or using simple toilets, the Harappan people had sophisticated infrastructure. Houses had plumbing systems and separate bathrooms. Throughout the city, there were over 700 wells and a complex sewage system that ensured the efficient distribution of water. In a section of the city known as the Citadel, they had built an impressive 900-ton structure known as the Great Bath. This bath was filled with water diverted from the Indus River. This engineering marvel predates the famous Roman baths by 2,500 years. Imagine, this lost civilization had one of the world's oldest known healthcare systems. Mohenjo-Daro, with a population of 20,000 to 40,000, was just one of the Harappan cities. Rakhigarhi, discovered in 1969 and largely unexplored, was probably even larger. As archaeologists continue to excavate, who knows what other secrets and fascinating mysteries about this ancient civilization will be uncovered? If Rakhigarhi was the largest city, could it have been the capital of the Harappan civilization? If so, imagine how much more advanced it might have been compared to other Harappan cities. Consider Mohenjo-Daro, a city that amazes with its incredible technology and innovations. Have you ever wondered what stages this civilization went through? Scientists divide the development of the Harappan civilization into three main periods. The first period is the early Harappan period, spanning from approximately 3,300 BC to 2,600 BC. During this period, urbanization in the Indus Valley began to become apparent. The second period is the mature Harappan period, between 2600 BC and 1900 BC. This was the golden age of the Harappan civilization, witnessing the rise of large and well-planned cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, Kalibangan, and Dholavira. This is the period we will focus on in this documentary. The last period is the late Harappan period, from 1900 BC to 1300 BC. During this period, the Harappan civilization began to decline, and most of the major urban centers were abandoned or transformed into smaller rural settlements. Today, over 2,000 Harappan archaeological sites of varying sizes are known, spread across a vast area around the Indus Valley. This Harappan region extends from the Upper Gange River basin in northern India in the east to Sutkagan near the Pakistan-Iran border in the west, to regions in the depths of Afghanistan where smaller but significant Harappan settlements are found, and to the area just north of Ahmednagar in Maharashtra in the south. This vast region covers an area of approximately 1.3 million square kilometers, roughly equivalent to the combined size of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Like ancient civilizations in Sumer, Egypt, and the Bactria Margiana complex in China, the Harappan civilization was initially tied to a major river system, the Indus River and its tributaries. Born from the melting snows of the Himalayas and fed by the heavy rains of the summer monsoons, the Indus River flows through the plains of Punjab and Sindh, eventually emptying into the Arabian Sea near the modern-day Pakistani city of Karachi. Another important river, thought to have been even larger than the Indus 4,500 years ago, is the Ghaggar-Hakra River. Today, mostly a dry riverbed, the numerous Harappan settlements near this river suggest that it once carried a significant amount of water. Some believe that the Ghaggar-Hakra might be the legendary Sarasvati River mentioned in early Hindu texts. In prehistoric and ancient times, the annual floods of these rivers provided abundant fresh water and fertile alluvium. This, combined with high temperatures and constant sunlight, made the Indus Valley region ideal for large-scale agriculture. However, harnessing these river systems was a challenge. The Harappans had to cope with unpredictable floods, clear forests, and drain swamps. After accomplishing all this, they cultivated crops like wheat, barley, peas, and cotton. The fields were plowed with oxen, and sometimes camels, and later donkeys joined the workforce. By 2500 BC, elephants and buffaloes had been domesticated in the Harappan cities of Gujarat and Maharashtra. Sheep, Goats and pigs were common as both food and material sources. Fish obtained from rivers in the sea also played a significant role in their diet. As in other parts of the world, stable agricultural surpluses allowed a segment of society to focus on other pursuits such as metalworking, urban planning, engineering, and art. This division of labor contributed to the sophisticated and advanced nature of the Harappan civilization. The story of the Harappan civilization's beginnings is quite intriguing. While the Indus Valley today receives less than 15 centimeters of rainfall annually, scientists have discovered that in the 3rd millennium BC, the monsoons were much stronger and more dangerous. The melting snows of the Himalayas and heavy annual rainfall necessitated that permanent settlements be constructed from very durable materials. While mud brick was commonly used in ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt, the Harappans needed a more robust building material due to their harsh climate. Mud brick would easily erode or collapse in heavy rain and floods. To solve this problem, the Harappans invented baked bricks. These bricks were made from local clay, sand, and water, shaped into uniform rectangular blocks, dried in the sun, and then fired in kilns at temperatures exceeding 800 degrees Celsius. The resulting bricks were incredibly strong and weather-resistant, so much so that they were reused in railway construction in Punjab in the late 19th century. For the Harappan people, these bricks were crucial for protecting their homes from the destructive monsoon rains and floods. During the mature Harappan period, the use of bronze became widespread. Bronze was used to make tools, ornaments, figurines, toys, needles, jewelry, and weapons. The numerous bronze furnaces found in Harappan cities highlight the importance of this metal in society. Although copper items continued to be widely used, both copper and tin were needed to make bronze, and these metals were scarce in the Indus Valley. Cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa had to import these metals. Copper came from mines in Balochistan and Rajasthan, while tin came from Afghanistan. The discovery of large Harappan settlements in these distant regions indicates that long-distance trade was established to secure these vital resources, playing a significant role in the spread of Harappan culture. Harappan traders probably bartered copper and tin for goods like cotton, grain, wood, seashells, and agate beads. This extensive trade network not only provided the Harappans with the necessary materials, but also helped them spread their culture throughout the Indian subcontinent and beyond. Genetic research reveals an interesting fact about the ancient farmers of the Indus Valley. Unlike their neighbors in Iran, who are considered among the first people in the world to start farming, the Harappans did not share a close genetic connection with them. This suggests that agriculture spread in different ways in different regions. In many parts of the world, agriculture spread as people migrated and mixed with different communities. For example, genetic studies in Europe show that Stone Age farmers carried their agricultural knowledge with them as they moved across the continent and intermingled with various populations. However, this was not the case for the Harappan population. Their genetics remained distinct from the neighboring groups who developed agriculture before 8000 BC. This raises some questions. Did the ancient Harappans develop agriculture independently, or did they learn it from an unknown source? Considering that the Harappan civilization predates both the Egyptian and Sumerian civilizations, it's plausible to think that they might have been the ones who passed this knowledge on to these ancient cultures. So, if there was a social and political hierarchy in the Harappan civilization, who was at the top? Was it a king, a priest who assumed both spiritual and political roles, or perhaps a governing council? Scientists have debated these questions, proposing various theories. The person or persons in authority likely resided in the city's Acropolis area, perhaps within a fortress. Another mystery is how extensive the leader's power was in a typical Harappan city. There's little evidence of a military culture or organized armies in most cities. So, how did the leaders enforce their decisions on the people? These questions motivate researchers to seek more answers. One theory suggests that specific groups of people were selected to fulfill different government duties. Each city probably had its own council that reported to a central council overseeing the entire civilization. Considering the vast distances between the various cities in the Harappan civilization, this decentralized but organized government structure is quite impressive. The Harappan civilization's way of governing itself was so unique and ahead of its time that UNESCO's Courier magazine dedicated an article to it. Titled "The Indus Valley Civilization, Cradle of Democracy," the article proposed that the Harappans might have invented democracy thousands of years before the ancient Greeks. Trade was vibrant in Harappan cities, so it was essential to keep track of inventories and the movement of goods to and from distant lands. Researchers believe this need led to the development of the Harappan script. Unlike the deciphered cuneiform script of Mesopotamia or Egyptian hieroglyphs, the Harappan script remains a mystery. From the condensed text on some seals, it's known that it was written from left to right. Rather than an alphabet, it comprises over 400 pictographs, picture writing, mostly found on small, plain stone seals that don't typically feature epics or literary works. According to the prevailing theory, these seals were used in trade, possibly to indicate ownership of goods or for identification in long-distance commerce. The animals and symbols on them likely represented the origin or destination of the traded goods. Alternatively, some argue that these seals served to identify individuals, bearing personal names or titles, similar to modern ID cards. Another hypothesis suggests they played a ritual or religious role, given the depictions of mythological creatures. Despite all these theories, the true purpose of these astonishing seals remains elusive. Without deciphering the script, archaeologists and historians must be greatly frustrated. Deciphering the script could confirm their theories and reveal much more about Harappan life, including the names they used for their cities and themselves. The decipherment of the mysterious Harappan script has been a challenge for scientists for decades. There's even a $10,000 reward offered since 2004 to anyone who can decipher a Harappan text of about 50 characters. But so far, no one has succeeded.